Good afternoon, everyone.
So,
Okay. If you have any doubts from straight lines, last exercise, miscellaneous, few questions were left. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
so question 18 and 20.
18th and 20th. All right. Any other question? All right. Let's see question number 18. In this question, we have to find the image of the point 3, 8 with respect to the line. With respect to the line 3x plus x plus 3y equals 7, assuming it to be a line mirror or a plane mirror. So if this is the point P and this line is acting as plane mirror, then its image will be formed here on the other side. We all know the concept of image, okay? And this is simply a point. So it is very easy to understand that point will be formed on the other side of this line here at say point Q. And the concept of image is such that first of all this PQ will be perpendicular to the given line. And one more thing, that this point M will be the midpoint of PQ. Why? Because the line will be formed at the same distance from M as is the distance of the object P from this point M. Okay. So overall, two concepts to be used here. One is PM is equal to MQ, or you can say that M is midpoint of PQ. And secondly, that this line segment PQ will be perpendicular to this line mirror. Okay. So based on this, we will have to find the coordinates. Let's say the point is H comma K. So yesterday also we solved a similar kind of question. There we learned to find the coordinates of the foot of perpendicular. Now it will be just one step more and you will be able to find the coordinates of Q. So first of all, PQ is perpendicular to line. This means slope of PQ into slope of line will be equal to -1. Slope of PQ can be calculated using 2 points y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. The points acting as x1, y1 and x2, y2 are 3, 8 and h, k. Now we have to find the slope of line. For that you can change this line in slope intercept form. Divide both sides by 3. The coefficient of x will give you the slope because it is of the form y equals mx plus c. So we can see that the slope of the line is -1. This will give us the first equation in h and k. Let us simplify this. Minus gets cancelled from both sides. Let us transpose 3 to the right hand side. Then let us do the cross multiplication. This is 3h minus 9. And finally we get a linear equation k minus 3h equals -1. Okay. We need one more equation and that will help us to find h and k. So now M is the midpoint of PQ. M is midpoint of PQ. So what we can do? We can find the coordinates of M using section formula. Because M is midpoint of PQ, so 1:1 ratio. We also have the formula. It is x1 plus x2 by 2, comma y1 plus y2 by 2. Now this is M. Now last thing to be used is M lies on this line. So it will, the coordinates of this point M will satisfy the equation. So in place of x you are going to put this, and place of y you will put k plus 8 by 2. So this comes out to be h plus 3 by 2. 3 times k plus 8 by 2 equals 7. Now just simplify this. This will be the second equation. Solve first and second and that will give you the answer. So this is 3kh plus 3 plus 3k plus 24 equals 40. And this is h plus 3k. This is 27. So this will be minus 30. Okay. Two variables, two equations. You will get h and k. Understood? Is it clear? Whoever asked this question, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let's take the next and last question, that is 20th. 20th question. Sum of the perpendicular distances of a variable point from the lines is always 10. Show that P must move on a line. Okay. To use the formula, that's it. Sum of the perpendicular distance of a variable point. Okay. So I'm finding distance P1. What is P1? It is the distance of this point xy from the line x plus y minus 5 is equal to 0. Now since the coordinates are also x comma y and in the line also we see x and y. So in the numerator there won't be much difference. It will be simply the expression of this line. While in denominator it will be 1 square plus 1 square. So overall it comes out to be x plus y minus 5 by root 2. Now similarly, we will find the perpendicular distance of this point from another line using length of perpendicular or the formula. So this is 3x minus 2y plus 7. 3x minus 2y plus 7 upon under root of 3 square plus or minus 2 square. So this is equal to 3x minus 2y plus 7 by root 13. Now it is given in the question that sum of these distances is always 10. So this implies x plus y minus 5 root 2 plus 3x minus 2y plus 7 by root 13. This is equal to 0. This is equal to 0. Okay. Now another important thing that you have to conclude from here is that on the left hand side we have two non-negative values, modulus by root 2 plus modulus by root 13, and they say that it should be equal to 0. So what we will do, if this thing modulus plus modulus of something is 0, then the only possibility is that the expression inside the modulus is 0. But just a minute, here they have not given the P must move on the line. They should have given the algebraic distances rather than this perpendicular distance, because then it will give you the same line. Actually what you do here, you do not use modulus sign. Remember this, do not use modulus sign here. It should have been algebraic distances rather than perpendicular distances. So you take it as simple expression like this. Okay, do not use modulus sign. And after this it is given that P1 plus P2 is 0. Okay, P1 plus P2 is 0. So writing it like this, what you do, now you take the LCM and simplify it. So this will give you an equation of line. Denominator will be root 26. After taking the LCM, this you can shift to the right hand side. So this will come out to be root 13 into x plus y minus 5 plus root 2 into 3x minus 2y plus 7 is equal to 0. Rest is simplification. You can collect terms of x together. It will be root 13 plus 3 root 2x. Then with y, you can write root 13 minus 2 root 2y. And then it is 7 root 2 minus 5 root 13 equals 0. So this is a linear equation in two variable, which is a straight line. Okay, and you have to prove this only that point P moves on a line. That means point P satisfies the equation of line. So they should have given the algebraic distances rather than the perpendicular distances, this one. Okay. And here I have used the given condition that sum of distance is 0, nothing else. Because see, if the perpendicular distance will be 0, if the sum of perpendicular will be 0 and I will be taking the modulus sign, then that means point will lie on these two lines only. Okay, so it will not make any sense. So here it should have been algebraic distances and not perpendicular. What is the difference between two? In perpendicular distances we will be using modulus sign, while in algebraic we simply write the expression and do not use modulus sign. Okay, then we add them equal to 0. This is given in the question. Simplify it, you will get a linear equation in two variables. Yes.
So the sum is 10, right?
Sum is 10. Okay, let me see. Wait a minute. Okay, sum is 10. All right. Sorry. Then it is okay. I thought it is 0. Then it is okay. If it is sum is 10, then we can use the perpendicular distance. Sorry. You write it as modulus sign only. If it is not 0, then it is okay. I thought it is 0. It is 10. So if it is 10, then you use the modulus sign. We will have to change it from here. But still, then also no problem. Then it is okay to write the modulus sign. It is modulus here. And the sum is 10. Okay. Change everything by modulus, because this is the length of perpendicular. Okay, and putting it equal to 10. Now what we'll do, we'll take the LCM. So this comes out to be root 13 into mod of x plus y minus 5 plus root 2 into modulus of 3x minus 2y plus 7, and you shift this to the right hand side, so this will be 10 root 26. Then there is no problem at all, because you see either they open with plus sign, this modulus, either it opens with plus sign or it opens with minus sign depending on the value inside the modulus. So you can write it like this, and you can leave the question here itself, because this will also be a linear equation in two variables. That is why. Now it is okay. Okay, write it like this. No need to simplify it further, because whatever be the case, you will get a linear equation in two variables. Okay, either you use plus both the times or minus minus or plus minus. Four possibilities will be there, but you need not to simplify it further. You will say that it is linear equation in two variables. Okay, so that will be a,
What is the part that you cancelled?
this part is cancelled because I thought the sum is 0, but actually sum is 10. If sum is 10, then we will use the same formula. First, I have calculated the perpendicular distance of the point x comma y from the line x plus y minus 5 equals 0. Then in the second part, I have calculated P2, which is the distance of this point from the second line. And here it is given in the question that P1 plus P2 is 10. Okay. So from here, you will directly come to this step where you will take the LCM. And as I said that in the last step, modulus can be removed either by plus sign or by negative sign depending on the value or the sign of the value inside the term. So we do not know whether x plus y minus 5 is positive or negative, but it is not required also. You take both the possibilities plus or minus and leave it here only. Why? Because it is of the appearance of ax plus by plus c equal to 0. That is linear equation two variable. That means point P moves on the line. Point P moves on the line means P is present on the straight line. This is what you have to understand. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So I think this is it. Now let's move to the next topic, which is sets. I gave you two exercises from that chapter also. So anyone having any doubt in first exercise, exercise 1.1?
Five two.
Fifth question, second part.
So, so yeah.
Fifth question, second part. This one, B says that x is an integer between minus half to 9/2. This one, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, B is a set of all x such that x is an integer and it varies from minus half to 9 by 2. And you have to list all the elements of this set. So it is easy. What is the problem? You have to write all the integers. You have to just list those numbers. So x will be equal to, what are those integers which are greater than minus 0.5 and less than 9 by 2? So answer will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Because integer must be greater than minus half. So before minus half 0 will be coming. Okay. Not before, in fact after minus half, because x should be greater than minus half and less than 0.5, 4.5. So integers here will start from 0 and then end at x equals 4. So you have to just list all the elements, write these numbers. This is it. Any other doubt? Whole exercise, in the whole exercise, do you have any other doubt? Anyone? Okay, what about 1.2? Exercise 1.2.
3.
1.2, third question.
Yes, sir.
All right. So any particular part? Because see, the questions are, you can directly write the questions. They are asking which of the following sets are finite or infinite, right? So first question, set of lines which are parallel to x-axis. Now you can draw infinite lines which are parallel to x-axis. What is the problem? Suppose if we have this x-axis, then all these lines, okay. If I name them, let's say I'm naming them line 1, line 2, line 3, then will you be able to write all the lines in any set? No. Why? Because they're infinite, or you will name them. So infinite sets are there, okay, because infinite parallel lines can be drawn. Second question, set of letters in the English alphabet. They are 26, so obviously it is a finite set. Third part, the set of numbers which are multiple of 5. There are infinite numbers which are multiple of 5, like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc. So third one is case of infinite set. Then fourth and fifth, the set of animals living on earth. See, this will be a finite set. Why? Earth itself is finite. Okay. So you can, if you want, you can count the number of animals. Though no one will be doing this, but yeah, they are countable. So set of animals living on the earth will be a finite set. And last one, the set of circles passing through the origin. Through a point, you can draw infinite circles. This is one point. How many circles can be drawn passing through it? Forget about 0, 0 or anything else. Simply a point. You can draw infinite circles, endless. Okay. So many circles can be drawn which can be passed through this point. So it is a case of finite set. You are not supposed to write the set. You have to just tell whether it is finite or infinite. So everybody knows through a single point or one point, infinite circles can be drawn. That is why it will be a case of infinite set. Yes, any other doubt?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. So I think that's it. No other question. All right, let's move to the next topic, which is subsets. Subsets. In the previous class, we studied about equal sets, infinite sets, finite sets, right? Equivalent sets, and empty set also. So now we are going to learn something new, which is called subsets. So first I will write its definition. It's very simple. A set, capital A, is said to be subset of a set B. Subset of a set B if every element of A, if every element of A is also an element of B. is also an element of B. Simple definition. For example, let us take an example. Let's say we have two sets. One is 1 comma 2 and next set is 1, 2 and 3. So what I observe that there are two elements 1 and 2 in set 1, 2, 3 in set B. So clearly A is a subset of B. Why? Because every element of set A is present in set B. But is the converse also true? No. Every element of set B is not an element of set A. For example, 3. 3 is an element of B, but it is not element of A. So that is why B is not a subset of A. But yes, A is a subset of B because its elements 1 and 2, both of them are present in set B. Okay. So this is the definition of subset. Now we use a symbol for this. Okay. Some points to be remembered here. A is a subset of B. How to write this mathematically? A is a subset of B. We write it like this. The notation is A. Then there is this symbol. Which is not C actually, but this symbol. Okay. This symbol is used for subset. So when we write it like this, that means the first set, that is A, is a subset of B, which actually means that all the elements of set A are present in set B. This is the meaning. And obviously, if A is not a subset of B, how to write that? If A is not a subset of B, not a subset of B, then we will use such kind of notation where the same symbol is now crossed. Okay, to show that A is not a subset of B. This is the meaning. Third point, let me see if anyone can tell me this or can interpret the information. Suppose if it is given that A is a subset of B and B is a subset of A, then what is the meaning of this information? Can anyone tell me?
It's a null set.
Both are equal.
Not null set. In fact, both are equal. Try to understand what is A is a subset of B and at the same time B is a subset of A. Related with definition, A is a subset of B means every element of set is a member of set B. B is a subset of A means every element of B is a member of set A. So what is the conclusion? That both sets are equal. That means both
Your voice
sets
is
are.
not clear, sir.
Is it so? What about others? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir,
sir.
it's
For
clear.
me also, sir. Voice is not clear.
For some people it is an issue while others can hear. So that means there is no problem from my side. Okay, so this was the third point. Now few points to remembered. Okay, you have to remember them as such. Every set is a subset of itself. Every set is a subset of itself. This is obviously true. How can I write it like this? A subset of A. This is obviously true. Why? Because every element of a set will be a member of itself. That is why. By logic only we can say, yeah, this is true. Every set is a subset of itself. But one more thing. One more thing.
Sir,
Actually,
screen is frozen, I think.
can you see these points? The 4 points that I have written.
So no, it's fine now.
It's
Okay.
visible.
So I think
Okay.
it's the
It may
network
be.
issue
It may
from
be.
their side.
Yeah. It may be lagging actually. No.
Your voice is cracking.
I don't know what is the problem. While others can hear, some of you can't hear. So how can it be a problem from my side?
I can hear you.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Na?
Yes, sir. For me also, sir. Voice is cracking, sir.
What can be done there? You
The
tell me.
network issue must be from their side.
Okay, let me complete this point and I will try to reconnect it through some other means. Okay, let me complete this last sentence. Okay, this is phi. You all know this is empty set and it is taken, this result is taken as such. See, subset is actually a smaller set. You can think about it like this, that it is a smaller set or it may be equal, but it cannot have more elements than the given set. For example, as I told you in this one also, why A is a subset of B, so you can think about subset as a smaller set. That set A is having less number of elements, and the lesser number of elements, whatever they are, but they are actually present in set B. So that is why we say that it is subset. So taking this point, we will write that phi is subset of every set. Not any particular set, every set. Okay. They are axioms or taken without proof. Why? Because phi has nothing. So it will always be the smallest set possible in the question. That is why it can be taken as the subset of every set. So these 2 points must be remembered. Every set is a subset of itself and phi is subset of every set. Okay. Think about this like taking into account the concept of smaller set. Then you will understand both these points. So based on that, I'm going to write a result. Okay, that will help you understand even better. One more result I'm going to write here. First of all, I'm writing capital N. Now you all know that capital N means set of all natural numbers. Okay, I use this symbol which is for subset and I write W. This is correct. Why? Because natural number is a subset of W. In natural number, the numbers included will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And in W, it will be 0 also. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. W itself, W itself is a subset of Z. What is Z? Z is a set of all integers. So apart from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., what are the other numbers which are also present in Z? They are -1, -2, -3, etc. So I hope you understand how we are writing the subsets here. Okay. And these are the standard notations of the numbers or the set of numbers. Now, can anyone tell me which will be the bigger set than Z? Or Z will be subset of which set? If you remember the last class, can you tell me what will come after Z?
So R.
R. And before R, anything else that you can think about? R is also correct. But can you...
Rational.
Rational number. Yes, that's correct. Rational number. Q. Why? Because all of us know that all the integers are rational numbers. For example, if I write 2, I can rewrite it as 2 by 1. So 2 by 1 is a rational number. But when we talk about a pure rational number, then we can think about numbers like 6 by 7, -7 by 8, etc. So that is why Q is a bigger set. Now, Q itself is a subset of real numbers. So I hope you are understanding this order. Why N is coming at the first position, then W, then Z, then Q, then R. Now, can anyone tell me, can any one of you suggest a bigger set than capital R? Do you remember anything that I have taught you in previous classes? Very good. That will be complex number. Set of complex number. Yes. Because I told you every real number is a complex number.
So,
Yes. Yes, what happened? So this is correct, right? Because every real number is a complex number, but every complex number is not a real number. I told you that 5 can be written as 5 plus iota 0. That is why. But 2 plus 3 iota, this cannot be changed to a real number. That is why the set of complex number is the biggest set in mathematics. Okay. So this is one important result, and this is sufficient to understand the concept of subset. Now I'm going to take next point, but I want to just confirm whether you guys are able to hear me properly or not, because most of you are giving the answers. That means you are able to understand and read and write,
Yes,
see and
sir.
everything.
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
so
we are able.
okay, then I don't think there is any problem from my side. You please try to reconnect. This will break the momentum of the class. Okay, the next thing is power set. Power set. So what is this? I will write the definition first. So the collection of the collection of all subsets of A. The collection of all subsets of a set A is called power set of A. Is called power set of A. And is denoted by PA. This thing. So I will give you an example and I will tell you how to write the power set. Then I will give a question and you will have to write the power set only. Okay. So what it is? What is power set? It is defined with respect to a particular set, and in power set we write all the subsets. See, collection of all the subsets of that set, and that collection of all the subsets of set A is called the power set. And a point to be remembered, if n A is equal to n, or I let me write m, then number of elements in PA equals 2 to the power n. See, what is the meaning of this n bracket A? N stands for number of elements. Okay. N stands for number of elements. So how to read this thing? N bracket A. We read it like this. Number of elements in A are equal to M. Okay. And if it is so, then the number of elements in power set of A are equals 2 to the power M. So to explain these 2 points, that is definition and this thing, this result 2 to the power M, let me take an example and tell you how to write power set and how this will be true, this thing. So let us take a simple example. Suppose I have a set A and its members are 1, 2. Okay. And now I have to write the power set, which is the collection of all these subsets, right? So therefore PA can be written as. So I will be starting with the simplest subset of this set. Who will tell me the smallest subset of this set A?
1. So, 5.
5. 5 will come before 1. Okay.
5.
I told you, I'd asked you to tell me the smallest subset. So what I said, that 5 is subset of every set because it is the smallest possible set. So in this collection, you will write 5 first. Or you can use that symbol, or you can use simple braces without any element written in it. Now the next subset, that will definitely be having some element, and since no element was present in 5, so now we will write those subsets which will be having one element. So one will be this set, one enclosed within braces.
2.
Next one will be 2 enclosed within braces. These are also the subsets. Now anything left?
So the set itself.
Yeah, the set itself. So now you
1,
can
2.
understand. Yeah, now you can understand how to write these subsets. So the first and last. First is 5 is subset of every set. Last one, every set is subset of itself. So what you are writing in between? The smaller sets which will have lesser number of elements present here. So what you can observe here, how many elements were present in the set? 2, and they were 1 and 2. Okay. So how many elements you got in power set of A? How many elements you got in power set of A? You got 4 elements. Why? Because number of elements in power set of A are 2 to the power 2, that is 4. Let us take another example. This time I am taking 3 elements here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we are supposed to write the power set. So can you tell me how many subsets will be present in the power set?
8.
Yes. Why? Because if n is 3, because 3 elements are here, so number of elements in power set of A will be 2 cube, that is 8. Okay. So let me write all those elements. And now you might have understood how to express or how to represent a power set. You see all these things. See, if you write like this, let me tell you one thing. If you write it like this is not the part of the theory. I'm telling you how you can write it in a wrong way. You write it like this: pi, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or you use some other bracket. This is absolutely wrong. Because whenever you write simple elements without brackets, they will be counted as elements and not the sets. If you have to represent anything in terms of set, it should be
You're not
enclosed with
audible.
braces. See, I cannot like every time give answer to this question that I'm not audible, because most of you are able to hear. You should try to reconnect yourself. I can't help you much. Okay. If like all of you are saying that I'm not audible, then only I can help you out. How can like I stop the class every time and then try to reconnect from my side? What is the meaning of this? You can watch the recording later on if there is some problem from your side. Because if like even a single student is able to listen and watch everything, then that means there is no problem. So what can I do? I can't do anything about it. Okay, so the power set. This is the set A. So we will start with the simplest set, that will be pi. Okay. Now what to write after this? Who will tell? What will be the next subset?
Sir, 1.
1,
Yes, 1. Next one, 2.
2,
Then
2.
3.
3,
3.
Now
1,
you
2,
can tell
3.
me.
1,
Now,
2, 2,
all right. Now you will take two elements at a time. So 1, 2. All right. Then 1, 3. Then
1,
2,
3.
3. 2, 3. All right.
2.
Do not repeat. Okay. Do not repeat. 1, 2 is there. Then do not write 2, 1. I told you both of them are same things. 1, comma 2 and 2, comma 1 both are same. 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3. What is the last one that is remaining? That is the set itself, right? 1, 2, 3, and we enclose them in a brace. So you can see that 8 elements are written here. 8 elements are written here. So this was everything about power set. Okay. Now the last article before this exercise is universal set.
So there is any formula for power set, or every time you have to do it like that only?
No, you have to just write all these elements one by counting or one by one. See formula. How will a formula help you to write all these subsets?
So no, like
No,
to
it can
know the
just tell you.
number.
It can just tell you how many elements will be there. For that, I have given you the formula. Na equals m. Then number of elements in Pa will be 2 to the power m. This is the formula. But if they want you to list the elements of this power set, then you will have to just observe and write them one by one. Okay.
Okay, so
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what is the value of M?
Value of
M.
m is the number of elements. This m
So
is the
no,
number
no,
of
M.
what m? I am not able to understand. M is 2 here, no?
Sir,
In this one, here it is 3.
oh yes, sir.
So what that I'm telling you, M stands for Na, and what is Na? Number of elements in the given set. In the first example, how many elements were there? 2. So value of M is 2. So that is why number of elements in the power set became 2 to the power 2, that is 4. In the next question, the value of M was 3. 3 elements were okay. And how many elements you got in power set? You got 2 cube, that is 8. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
See, universal set is nothing. It is the biggest set. It is the biggest set with reference to the question. This is the simple language. Okay. It is the biggest set with reference to the problem or the question. It is not unique. Okay. There is nothing like universe or universal set, something like this. Universal set refers to the biggest set with with reference to the problem. That means with respect to the question. And it is denoted by capital U. It is denoted by capital U. Now, what is the meaning of biggest set? For that, I will take an example. Like suppose we have only three sets. Suppose we have three sets and they are set A is 135, set B is 246 and set C is 02468. Okay, these are three sets and the question is which of the following may be considered universal set or for all the three sets, and the options are: first is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, second is 5, third is, and here they have written like this: which of the following may be considered universal set or sets. It is read like this, right? Universal set or sets for the following three sets, and the options are: one is this, then second is 5, third one is, they have written all the numbers from 0 to 10. This was missing, 0 to 10, and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So what will be your answer? Which of the following set or sets can be taken as universal set for all the three above sets? And go for the definition. It is the biggest set with reference to the problem. Yes.
Third one.
Very
The
easy.
third one.
Yes.
Fourth one.
Very easy. Third one, not fourth one. Why fourth one cannot be the answer? Because in fourth one,
Does not include 0.
Yes. Fourth one, 0 is not present. While in set C, we have 0 also. Okay. First one, why it cannot be considered universal set? Because 8 is missing. And second itself has no meaning because 5 is there and it contains no element. So how can it be a universal set? Okay. So now I think you are able to understand what is the meaning of universal set. There is no formula or anything attached to it. Okay. They will give you some random question, and if they ask you the universal set, then this will be with respect to the given problem only. Okay. So this question itself is from NCERT. They have asked it like this, that what will be the universal set. So anyone can tell, it is third answer. So based on these definitions, they have, like, given certain exercises. So based on that, you will be able to solve exercise 1.3 from NCERT. Just a minute. All right. So now after this, the next topic
Can you
is,
please scroll up a bit?
yes. Okay. So after this, the next topic is,
I had got disconnected.
note it down first.
Done, sir.
See, now the next topic is Venn diagrams. Okay, what are these? They are very simple to understand. This rectangular shape, this rectangle, or let us take simply, this rectangle is used to represent universal set. Okay, you will be making certain uh, Venn diagrams for different kind of sets. So the first thing that you need to understand is that universal set is represented by rectangle. And now since it is the biggest possible set, so everything will be included inside this. Okay, represented by rectangle. And sets are represented by, which are part of this problem, they are represented by circles. For example, if I write it like this is U, and let us say I have this circle used to represent set A. Then I have written some elements here. See, so if this is the situation, and someone asks you what are the elements of set A, then you can see clearly the elements which are part of set A are 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so this is the way to read a Venn diagram. Rectangle means the complete biggest set here with reference to the problem, and the circles which are drawn inside it, they are used to represent sets which are present in the question itself. So obviously they will have elements less than universal set, right? So if someone asks you what about the universal set here, then it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because it will elements. That is the way to express a set and universal set. There can be other examples also, like suppose if I have this kind of situation, I will simply write the numbers. Okay, that's it. Yes, who will tell me what are the elements of set B? Yes, anyone? Elements of set
Single three.
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5. See clearly,
Four and five.
the
Yes,
elements which are present inside B are 4 and 5 only. Now next question, what are elements of set A? What
3,
are
4,
elements?
5.
Yes, 3, 4, 5. Because A is a bigger circle. So in this bigger circle, how many elements you can see? 3, and those elements are 3, 4, 5. And now last one is universal set. So that is the easiest thing to find. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Anything which is inside this rectangle is part of universal set. This is the way to express these things. Okay. So based on Venn diagrams, now we are going to introduce some mathematical operations here. Just like we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division in case of algebra, let us see what type of operations are there with respect to sets. So two of the most important are union and intersection. First we will understand what is union of sets, what is intersection of sets. First thing, union of sets. So to understand this, let's take a definition first. Let A and B are any two sets. The union of A and B is the set which consists of all elements of A and B, which consists of all elements of A and B, all elements of A and B. Simple. It is denoted by symbol. It looks like it is similar to universal set, but it is more curved actually. It is denoted by A, this symbol, okay, union B. It is written like this. Because if I will write exactly U, then it will seem like that it is universal set. That is why to make a difference, I have elongated it and it is like this symbol, which is like U only, but something different. So what is the definition of union? You have two sets, you will be having some elements. You write all those elements in a third set, and that will be called the union of the two sets. Example, if I have set A as 1, 2 and set B as 2, 3, 4, who will tell me what is A union B?
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is correct. But if you write 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, this is wrong. Why? Who will tell me why it is wrong? Why second one is wrong?
Can't repeat.
So the elements should not be repeated.
Yes, because in roster form, elements are not repeated. Okay, remember that thing. So it is simple. A union B. We can take some another example also, like if we have 1, 3, 5 here and 2, 4, 6 here. Now, if we want to write A union B, it is simple because it is the set which contains all elements of A and B. So answer will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is the way to write it. Now there are some important properties of union of sets. Okay, they may ask you to verify these properties using examples in the question. You will see, you will solve the exercise. You will come to know that they are asking you to verify the properties. First is commutative. Whether you find A union B or B union, it is same. Because ultimately, either you write A union B or B union, it doesn't matter because you will get the same number of elements. Like in the previous example only, second one, if I write A union B, it will be B union, it will be 1, 4, 5, 6. Because order, if you write 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5, or you write 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6, it is one and the same thing. That is why. So A union B and B union A is same. This type of property is called commutative. Then either I find A union B first and then take union with C, or I find B union C first and take union with A. It is same. This is called associative. If you want to check any property, what you can do, you can take some sets, write some elements, and then you can verify LHS and RHS will be coming equal. Third one, A union phi is A. This is obvious because phi has no element and A will be having some elements, and what will be the union? Which will have elements of both of them. So obviously A will be coming again. Why? Because phi has no element, that is why. A union A will be A itself because we do not repeat the alphabets. Sorry, we do not repeat the elements. If like set A is 1, 2, 3 and I want to take its union with itself, then what I will get? I will get 1, 2, 3 only. Okay, so A union is A itself. Last property. Who will tell me the answer of this part? Just wait. This is U. Okay, this is universal set and this is your union. And here it is set A. Who will give me the answer? What will be the union of universal set and set A?
So universal set.
Obviously universal set. Why? because all the elements of set A will automatically be coming in set universal set only. That is why. So its union will be U only. This is stands for universal set. Simple properties. They may be asked to verify, or they may ask you to write few properties of union. You can write any of these. Then next is intersection of sets. Intersection of sets. Okay, one more thing before I take intersection. I will
So
be
is it necessary to write a universal set U with those two
yes.
lines on top of?
The universal set is denoted by U only. That is why. No, these lines, if you can make these two symbols such that they are different, then it is fine. Otherwise, you draw these lines. Okay, or you can write
Okay.
beside this formula that here this stands for universal set. Okay, to be on a safer side. Now,
Okay.
suppose there is this set A and there is this set B. Okay, there is this set A and this set B, and this is a universal set. Okay, then if someone asks you to shade the region of A union B, okay, A union B, then A union B is actually this shaded area. This area, this whole area is your A union B, okay, A union B, because A union B contains all the elements which are present in both the elements, which are present in both the sets. So this red portion or red colored area is the area of A union B. Next is intersection. I will make Venn diagram for this also, then you will understand what is the difference between two. Intersection of sets. Let A and B are two sets. Then intersection of the two sets. Then intersection of A and B is the set which contain those elements. From the name itself it is clear, which contains those elements which are members of both the sets. Which are members of both the sets. Members of both the sets. And it is denoted by the symbol A and then this symbol intersection B. Okay. Example, if I have set A as 1, 2, 3 and set B as 3, 4, 5, can you tell me what will be the intersection set?
So 3.
Yes, 3 only,
3.
right? Correct. Next, A is 7, 8, 9. B is 10, 11, 5. What is the intersection?
5.
Yes, 5 will be the answer this time because there is no element which is common to both, right? And if I take 1, 2, 3 and I want an A intersection A, what will be the answer?
1, 2, 3.
Yes, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
Because
3.
yes, because all the elements will be coming in the same set. That is why all the elements will be common. So this is the way. Now how to represent it by Venn diagram? This is universal set. This is set A. Suppose this is the situation A and this is set B. Okay. So if in this case we have to shade the intersection, so it will be this part only. Because this is that region which is common to both. So all the elements which will be present in this red colored area will be the part of A intersection B. Okay. Now the properties of intersection. First is similar to the previous one. A intersection B and B intersection A both are same. Second is also similar, which is associative. A intersection B intersection C, or you take B intersection C first and then take its intersection with A. Both of them will be same. Again, associative, commutative. Third one we already took it as class example. A intersection A will be A itself. Okay. What about these two? Tell me what will be the answer of this part. Phi intersection and any set A. What will be the answer?
5.
5.
Phi. Because see, phi has no element. So
Phi.
what will come? Yes, phi has no element. So will there be anything which will be common to both? Nothing will be common. So phi will be the answer. Okay. That you can give by then. This is universal set, and if we have to take intersection with A, now what will be the answer?
A.
Yes, A will be the answer. Why? Because definitely universal set has more number of elements. It is the biggest possible set with reference to a question. So the set A, it will have some elements, but it will be having lesser number of elements than U. That is why the common part or the intersection will be A itself. As you can see with the help of Venn diagram also. This is universal set and this is set A. So what is common to both of them? Common to rectangle as well as circle is circle itself. That is why. Okay. This one is important. This is distributive. Distributive. This is different from the previous one. And it is A intersection B union C. A intersection B union C. Distributive means intersection will be distributed over union. How? How we can write it? We can write it like this. A intersection B. Okay. A, this part is getting distributed over both the alphabets. So A intersection B, what is there in between? Union. Then so A intersection B, and what is distributed? Union. Union. Okay. And what you will write here? A intersection C. I'm not saying that it is exactly same, but it can be comparable to, can be compared to A into B plus C. Do you remember how you used to write it? You used to write it like this: A into B plus A into C. It is like that only. Okay. So you can remember it like this. Same thing. Properties can be asked to be verified. Okay. You will see the questions. They will take two sets A and B, and they will say prove that A intersection B is B intersection. Or they can ask you to
Excuse me, sir.
verify third. Yes. Yes.
So can you please tell? So
Sorry.
can you please tell what you did? Sixth one. I
Sixth
couldn't
one I
hear you.
said, okay, it is distributive property. What distributes? This intersection distributes on union. How? This A will be coming again and again with all the alphabets which are there in the bracket. So A will be coming with B and A will be coming with C. With which symbol? With intersection symbol. First you try to understand this. This is something that you are doing from quite some time. Okay. A into B plus C. How you write it? You write it A into B first, then you write plus sign, and then you write A into C. It is in the same way. Just consider that in
Okay, sir.
place of, okay, in place of into there is intersection, in place of plus there is union. Okay, you will be able to write it like this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. So next is the last article before the next exercise 1.4. So if you will understand this, you will be able to solve 1.4 as well. Difference of sets. So the difference of the sets A and B in this order. A and B in this order. In this order means A comes first and then B. In this order is the set of elements which belong to A but not to B. Which belong to A but not to B. It is denoted by A minus B. Simple definitions, just go through them once, you'll be able to write all these. So first thing, this is important. In this order means A will come before B.
So there's
And
some
what is the meaning?
disturbance.
Sorry.
So there's some disturbance.
Yes, sir.
Not able. What happened?
There's some disturbance.
What sort of disturbance? Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the difference of sets A and B in this order means A will come first and then B. Okay. And it is the set of elements which belong to A but not to B, denoted by A minus B. Let us take example. Suppose we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is not like subtracting numbers. Okay. Just concentrate on the definition. Set of all the elements which belong to A but not to B. So this is A and B is 2, 4, 6, 8. And I want to write A minus B here. Okay. I want to write A minus B. So A comes first. Okay. So A minus B means all the elements which belong to A but not to B. Can you tell me what are those elements which belong to A but not to B?
1, 3,
So
5.
1, 3, and
1, 3, 5, sir.
Yes, correct. Good. So these are the elements 1, 3, 5 which are there in A but not in B. What about 2, 4, 6? They are present in both. So what is the definition? A and B in this order is the set of elements which belong to A but not to B, denoted by A minus B. Now in the same question I can ask B minus A also. What is the problem? What about B minus A?
so 8.
So 8, singleton 8.
Yes, singleton set. 8. Only 8 will be coming because 2, 4, 6 are already there in A also. Now what is the meaning of B minus A? B minus A means all the elements which belong to capital B but not to capital A. So in that case only 8 will be coming. So definitions are very simple and you can easily understand with the help of example also. So if we want to express this information using Venn diagram, this is set A, this is set B, this is universal set. So this portion of circle A, which is actually set A, this thing. So this portion, this shaded area actually is A minus B, because you can see clearly that this portion, the shaded portion, is belonging to circle A but not belonging to circle B, totally in circle A. It is called A minus B. Last thing to be discussed here is disjoint sets. Disjoint sets. Again, simple definition. Two sets are said to be disjoint. Two sets are said to be disjoint if they have no intersection. If they have no intersection or their intersection is phi. Okay. Two sets are said to be disjoint if they have no intersection. Nothing is common. We can take any simple example. Suppose I have these two sets once again. And if I ask you to find the intersection, then you will clearly see that the intersection is phi. Nothing is common. Okay. Hence, A and B are disjoint. We can show them with the help of Venn diagram also. Can anyone tell me how to express two disjoint subsets A and B with the help of Venn diagram? Can you help me out? How circles will be drawn?
So they are two separate circles.
They are drawn
Yes.
separately.
Yes, like this. Okay, A and B. So you can see nothing will be common, and this will be used to represent that A intersection B is phi. Okay. So based on this, you will be able to complete exercise 1.4. Till here, you will be able to complete exercise 1.4. Just wait a second. Okay, few more minutes and we'll complete one more exercise. Okay, and we'll end up here only. Just
So
2
please
points
could
to
you
be
scroll
discussed.
up a little?
Just a minute. Done?
Yes, so thank you.
No. Okay, so this is the next point to be discussed today. What is the meaning of complement of a set? So for that, let U be the universal set. Now we know what is the meaning of universal set, okay? And A be any set. And A be any set. Then A dash or A C, this type of symbol, okay, is the complement of a set A, is complement of set A, and is given by A dash is equal to U minus. Now that you have understood what is difference of a set, so now you can easily tell what is U minus A. That means all the elements which belong to U but not A, that will be part of the complement of a set. How to express this? Suppose this is a universal set and this is your set A, okay? Then all that portion which is part of rectangle, okay, all that portion which is part of rectangle but not of the circle, okay, all the portion of rectangle which is not part of circle will be A dash, okay, U minus A, simple. So example, if in the question universal set is 1 2 3, universal set is generally given in the question. So this is the universal set, and suppose A is 1 3 7, sorry 5. So if someone asks you what is the complement of this set, and it is simple, all the elements of U which are not in A. So answer will be 2 4 and 6 and 7 as well, okay, this will be the answer. Simple definitions, okay. Based on this, they have few results, important results. Now they are actually important, they are not obvious results, okay. Important results, you will be seeing lot of questions on these. First one is easy though, is complement of complement. Basically if you take complement two times, like if I take complement of this set further, that means complement of A dash once again. So what I will get? I will get 1 3 5. So I will get back the set itself, okay. This is the first property. Some of the properties are obvious. Let me see if you can give me the answer. What about this? Who will give me the answer? Second one, A union A dash.
So universal
Universal,
set.
sir.
Yes, correct. You can see the diagram also. So if you combine these two, that means circle and the shaded portion, what you will get? You will get the universal set. Okay, what about the next one? A intersection A dash.
5.
5.
5. Because nothing is common in between, right? That is what. Correct. What about these two? 5 dash. U dash. What is complement of 5?
Universal set.
Universal set. Because see, in 5 we have nothing. So what will be the complement of nothing? Everything. That means universal set. Simple. Similarly, complement of universal set itself will be 5. Right? These are basic things. But the important ones are, now I'm going to write. They are called De Morgan's law. De Morgan's law. We will verify them with the help of example. De Morgan's laws. And they are, first, A union B complement is equal to A complement intersection B complement. We will verify them, okay. Secondly, A intersection B complement is A complement union B complement. These are important, okay, last two. To verify these results, let us take sets. Suppose A is 1, 2, 3, B is 3, 4, 5, and let's say if we require, let us say the universal set is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, now let us verify the first result. First one, that A union B whole complement is A complement intersection B complement. Okay. So we need to find A union B first. This is verification of first one. Okay. So let us find A union B. What is A union B? You can see clearly that A union B will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Who will tell me what is A union B complement with respect to this question? A union B complement. Yes, anyone?
So anything that is not inside A union B.
So that is with respect to this question, what are those elements which are not inside A union B?
So
6,
6,
7,
7,
8,
8,
9.
9.
6, 7, 8, 9. Because obviously they will be in the universal set, but they are not coming in A union B. So they are 6, 7, 8, 9. This is your LHS. Now let us find A dash first. A dash. A is 1, 2, 3. And this is universal set. So what will be A dash? A dash will be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Similarly, B dash. Elements which are not in B but are in universal set. So 3, 4, 5 are not supposed to be counted. So 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now finally, if this result is true, then for this we need to find their intersection first. A dash intersection B dash. So what is the intersection of these two? I think 6, 7, 8, 9 only, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. What do you observe? You observe that A union B complement is coming equal to A complement intersection B complement. Verified. Okay. Similarly, you can verify the second part. In this, you will find A intersection B first, which will be 3 only. Okay, for second part. LHS, you find A intersection B first, which will be 3 only. Then you take its complement. So if 3 is coming in the 3 is there in A intersection B, so what will be coming in the complement? It will be all the elements present except 3. That means 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then similarly we have A dash and B dash here. You take their union. It will also be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So second result will also be verified in similar way. Remember this part is important. De Morgan's law. Okay. You may find questions based on this. And I have already verified these results. Okay. So complement and properties in that De Morgan's law. You will see these questions in exercise 1.5. So basically today you have 3 exercises to solve, but once again I will say they will hardly take 45 minutes or 50 minutes, all the 3 exercises. Some of the questions you can solve verbally, that is all. Okay, so you solve them today itself, and tomorrow also we are having the class. So I will complete this chapter, as well as I will be covering relations chapter also. That is not a lengthy chapter. So both these topics will be covered tomorrow itself, and with this we will complete the syllabus for your coming school exams as well. Okay, so now what you have to do, you have to solve all the 3 exercises and ask your doubts tomorrow itself. Same time we will be having tomorrow as well, the class. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.
So,
Thank you, sir.
so could you explain that first important result? I didn't understand that.
Everything is written on the screen. What you could not understand, tell me.
So
I
not this one, not of the Morgan's law.
Which one then? Which part?
The other one, the the A component one, that one which you were doing.
Complement of complement. A itself. This one?
First important.
No, this one.
Yeah, that one. I didn't understand that.
What is the problem? See, you take any universal set. Suppose it is 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's say set is 1, 2 only. Suppose set is 1, 2. So what will be A dash? If this is universal set 1, 2, 3, 4 and set is 1, 2, what will be A dash? A dash will be 3, 4, right? Now, if you take its complement once again, if you take complement of 1, 3, 4, what you will get? You will get 1, 2, and which is nothing but set A itself. This is what I'm saying. Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay, so
so
understood.
it is like taking complement 2 times. So if you will take complement 2 times, you will come back to the set itself. That is what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay, so.
All right.